18 minutes to 8. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're coming to you live from Abuja, where the World Pension Summit Africa Special holds. We're joined this morning by Senator Aloysius Etuk to discuss pensions this morning. Morning, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Well, for pensions, I mean, yes, we know that we've got a new Pension Act 2014, moving away from that of 2004. The perception, the impression that some have about pensions in this country, as you know, maybe not exactly too good in some quarters. How important is this World Pension Summit for you?
Well, let me start from the one you chip in, that the impression of people about pension, did you say is not too good or was not too good?
Well, it's still, they have to get convinced about it, because remember, the report that many know, people queuing up, waiting for pensions, and pensions not properly being accounted for, all that has got to change.
Well, I want to agree with you to some extent, but I want to also let you know and the public that for some time now, the impression has changed, and changed positively since the advent of the National Assembly probe, that is the Senate probe, and after that the submission of report, things started changing, because the executive started responding to the areas of weaknesses and some other systemic infringements which had impacted negatively on the administration of pension. And I hope, by every indication and by the comment of the generality of Nigerians, I think the situation has changed positively.
Is there any clear case that they responded to after the Senate report?
Oh yes, like the setting up of Pt.1, that is the Pension Transitional Arrangement Department, to make sure to bring all pension offices under one administration, one umbrella, and under one supervision for a complete and holistic management with a bird eye view on all the sections put together. And in fact, the review, the 2004 or 2014 Pension Reform Act has been the bill signed into law, which has become an act now, is a response of the executive to the bad impression and to the recommendation of the National Assembly, Senate in particular.
Well, it's going to take a while for that.
So I hope you also must make the impression, and you must tell the story, the good side of this story to the public, so that
that's why we're here. Just a moment, Senator. That's why we're here, and that's why we're having this discussion, because we do know the impression that has been out there. We had the acting PENCOM DG here yesterday, and she did speak a lot in terms of the successes that have been recorded.
Yes.
But she also admitted that there's still plenty of work to be done. If we're looking at a working population of about 50 million people, and so far we've been able to cover about 6 million, there's still 44 million, at least in the formal sector, that needs to be covered. So we have some small gains, but we also still need plenty of work to convince this 44 million to come on board.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah.
First and foremost, let's get the impression straight and right. What I'm concerned, like you are concerned, is let's make sure the whole story is clean up. The environment of the pension is clean up, and then pension will now, and then there will be kind of confidence in the mind of not only workers, because by yesterday in the World Pension Summit, and like my own perception, we've just realized pension should not only be for working population. After all, when we say working population, we have those who work in informal sector, organized sector, unorganized sector, and everybody should be mobilized to consciously save for the rainy day. That's the reason for pension. Pension is postpone earning. You earn today and you keep it aside, and so that you use it in future. That should be clearly defined, and people should be given this kind of pension education, so that people for the rainy day.
I'm smiling because perhaps as a little aside, you talked about all the sectors. Maybe politicians too should buy into it.
No. I want to. I said yesterday, I want to buy into the scheme. I want to see where the politicians are covered. So if I'm coming to the National Assembly for 4 years, there should be a program that would consciously make me feel like serving, because I'm serving. When I serve, at the end of the 4 years, apart from my any other little allowance and my colleague, I should be able to take home something I said. I'll tell you a story. In 1993, when Abacha sacked us from National Assembly, the money I had on me was not enough to pay my way and my aids back to Lagos. So I had to abandon my aids here and find a way to transfer myself to Lagos. So that is how it is bad for public officers, especially elected officers, that you are only earning allowance and your allowance belongs to the people. However, let's now return to World Pension Summit.
You know, sorry, so that we can keep this in. I'm happy that you're here, a lawmaker, someone who's been there over time. Perhaps now we should also start looking at security. Yesterday we were trying to find out how these earnings can be secure in the future. You have actually, I'm talking about the National Assembly, have actually carried out some investigations, in fact, in recent times, and we just realized how much of pensioners' funds have been fettered away by some Nigerians, some individuals. Now, that investigation leaves a whole lot of sour taste in the mouth of some pensioners, as well as those who are contributing to their pension. How well have you been able to put in place a framework so that we can guarantee these earnings when the time comes for us to actually access them as pensioners?
Well, I can completely today assure you that with the passage of the 2014 Pension Reforms Acts, all the leakages, all the cleavages that had existed in the former law, penalties, mode of operation, enhanced level of management and specifications have been set in that law to make sure that nothing like what happened in the past used to happen will happen again. To also forestall, because the leakages came more from pay as you go, the former what we call defined benefit scheme. And as a response to the new situation and to give people assurance and make assurance doubly sure, that is why the PTAC, that is Pension Transitional Arrangement, has been brought into the acts now to be managed and supervised by PENCOM, having seen that PENCOM has done well managing the funds from a party maybe from 1 billion to a trillion and so on without scratches on the phones, and being very strict, upright and focused and transparent. And that's why we brought PTAC under the supervision of PENCOM and brought into the act now. And not only doing creation, but we make sure all the former pension offices now come under one administration with a DG on top, and then you now see you are sitting as we are sitting. I said this police pension, this federal government or public service pension, that is simple, so that all the pension offices are going to be. We have already started operation. It's been about almost 8 months since they started operation, been set up and managed by somebody, and then supervised by the Minister of Finance directly also. So I think that the things of the past, let me even tell you where we should be more worried. Yes, we lost a lot of money. From the report, have you read the report of the Senate probe? You didn't, but I must thank you publicly now. Thank China for the investment they did throughout the probe, covering us free most of the times and making sure that we're there from one geopolitical zone to another one. China followed us right through, and they made the public to realize what we saw, and they showed to the public what we saw. And what we are worried about is, yes, you mentioned that a lot of money not only frittered away, taken away arrogantly, unmandedly by people, and yet those people are still walking the street. However, the consolation is that the government is paying the price. That's why we are having a lot of pension backlog, arrears not paid, and yet the government is paying now. So that is our consolation, right? If somebody has taken the money or people have taken the money and government is not putting them under chain and so on, and they are looking at, going about very freely on the street. If the government is paying, they are making up the difference or whatever it was straightened away. Well, it's good and well. But all that we want is let the poor retirees get their rights and get their pay.